Hello and welcome to Eat and Live Free. In today's video, we'll be doing a yoga-inspired lower body stretch that, although designed for beginners, you're welcome to jump on in if you feel more advanced. This is more so to inspire you to get on your mat and get some movement in. This series of movements combined with breathing can be done within 15 minutes. If you're new to this channel, you'll find yoga practices to support you with overcoming stress and burnout. You'll also find nutrition guidance to support you in overcoming emotional eating, along with junk food and processed food dependency. Now, without further ado, let's get into our movement. All that you'll need is a comfy supportive mat. You'll see me using blocks as well, but those are optional. Starting in child's pose, where from a tabletop position, you take your hips back into a kneeling position, bring your hips and glutes towards your heels, and stretch your arms out in front of you if that's more comfortable, or bring them by your sides. And just to stretch out a bit, we're going to come back into tabletop and leaning forward, taking our hips towards the ground, stretching out the abdomen, and now taking those hips back into child's pose. You can move forward and back between these movements at your own pace. You're also welcome to lift your thighs and shins off the mat as well. Breathing through every movement, taking a deep breath in as you come up, deep breath out as you come down. Now coming back into tabletop, we get ready for downward facing dog. Curling the toes, pulling the hips up towards the back of the room. And you can just pulse your knees towards the mat as you pedal the heels towards the ground, just stretching out, going at a movement that feels good for you. And now bending your knees as you slowly walk forward up to the front of the mat and curving vertebra by vertebra slowly up and taking a big circle back, and bring your arms up towards the ceiling with a deep breath in. Taking another deep breath in and leaning over to your right side, deep breath out, and to your left side. Now as we come towards facing the center of the mat, the long edge, we're going to take it into hip circles, so feet slightly wider than hip width apart, taking your time as you circle around, feeling each movement. You don't have to match my pace. Go at what feels good for you. Now taking it in the other direction. Warming everything up and just taking our time, enjoying the movement. Now you see here, I'm going to grab some blocks, but they are optional. And we're going to be going into a bit of a thigh stretch. We're going to bend directly at the hips and glutes pointing towards the back wall. And you can relax your hands on the blocks if you'd like. So taking feet wider than hip width apart and coming forward at your hips. Now, if you use props, moving them out of the way, going into intense side stretch pose with our right foot forward, left foot behind, at a distance that feels good for you, taking that back foot about 3 feet behind the front foot, and not too narrow of a stance, just having a bit of openness in between those feet and leaning directly forward at your hips, so you feel the stretch in the back of your thighs. You do not have to come parallel to the ground, just come to what feels good for you. You can rest your hands on top of the thigh or on top of the shin, or you can lean forward onto blocks as well. Now moving those blocks as we come into goddess pose, we're going to come back, face the long edge of our mat, taking our feet wider than hip width apart, and you're going to Imagine you're sliding straight down a wall, and you can hold this pose or you can flow in and out of it. Do our different arm movements. You can have them by your sides or on your hips or in the common stance that you see here. Really enjoying the way the movements feel and remembering to breathe. Now coming back a little bit deeper into that stretch we did earlier, where you can lean forward onto the blocks if you'd like, or if you can reach the floor, you can come down to the floor, but really stretching from left to right, feeling the hips opening, feeling a gentle stretch in the lower back, and moving at a pace that feels good for you. You can change the positioning of the blocks if you're using them to bring you closer to the floor and just change the level of intensity that you're feeling that stretch. And this is our standing wide forward fold. Now cording our feet back together to center and taking it to the other side for our tense side stretch. Again, leaning forward at the hips so you feel that nice stretch in the back of your thighs and holding where it feels good for you. You do not have to bring your chest parallel to the ground. You don't need to bring your arms down to your shins or ankles or the mat. Just do what feels good for your body. Enjoy this stretch. Now moving the blocks and bringing our feet towards each other. Slowly rolling down to the floor, starting at our head down, rolling down, coming to the ground, back into tabletop, bringing those feet behind us, and lying down face forward on the mat. Here you can do different movements, but here we're going to be focusing on lifting the chest as we get into Cobra pose. Enjoying this, you can look up towards the ceiling if that feels good for your neck, or you can relax your head down. And in your own time, coming back down to the mat as we take our hips back into that child's pose and coming back up into that cobra and back, doing it at a pace that feels good for you. Getting ready for our quad stretch. And so for here, you can do it either facing the mat or on your side, resting your head on your left hand, reaching back for your foot with your right arm and pulling that heel towards your glutes. Now, if you do feel shoulder pain, you're welcome to turn onto your side, put that right thigh up towards the ceiling, and again, pulling that heel towards your glutes, keeping your hips stacked. And taking your time as we go on to the other side. Again, you're welcome to do this face down, or you can come onto your side, stacking your hips. If you have a strap, that can also be comfortable as well. We'll use the straps in a future video. Key thing as well, relaxing those shoulders so we're not feeling the tension. Now coming slowly onto your back as we massage our lower back, bringing our knees in towards our chest. You can rock side to side and you can do some gentle hip circles, taking those hip circles in the other direction. And coming into happy baby pose as we bring our feet towards the ceiling, bending the knees down towards the mat, and you can grab hold of the arch of your foot or your big toe, and you can just have fun with pulling your feet down towards you and your legs and feet out towards the sides, and again continuing to rock your hips side to side. And taking your time, we're gonna get comfortable into our final resting position, our corpse pose. Here you can lie back on your mat and you can put blocks under your knees if that's uncomfortable. You can rest your head on a mat or a pillow or a towel. Arms either to the sides or on your chest or stomach, and just deep breathing, just enjoying this rest and relaxation. Now you're welcome to stay here if you have some more time and you want to continue your rest. But for those of you who are wrapping up with us, taking your time as you wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing your awareness back to your body, rotating your head and taking your time to come back up to a seated position as we wrap up with 3 refreshing deep breaths. So taking a deep breath in and out. 2 more times, another deep breath in and relieving breath out. And final deep breath in and out. I hope you enjoyed this practice. Comment below to let me know what your favorite stretch was. And depending on when you're watching this, click the link below to join either the waitlist or to get more information about the beginner yoga video series online course that I'll be teaching. I'm looking forward to seeing you there and answering any questions you have as you make mindful movement a regular part of your life. Thank you again for tuning in, and see you next time.